Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Dafiq, Naufal Muzakky, and I come from English Education Department Class C, and my student's identity number is 212222513. Today, speaking can be a challenging task for many students. Why? Because it needs interactions. Noonan states that speaking is one of a key aspect of learning a second or foreign language. Moreover, he further notes that the success of learning the language is measured in terms of the ability to carry out a conversation in the target language. Talking about speaking is a skill that students should practice in order to become more fluent in subtle and detailed language. Teachers have to focus on improving their speaking skills in class. Accuracy is defined as the use of vocabulary, grammar, and pronunciation in various activities, whereas fluency is defined as the ability to keep going when speaking spontaneously. So we ask the future ESL teachers, what should we do to encourage the students to speak English? Okay, the first, we have to give a clear expectation to students about speaking English right from the start. First impressions are important. Make sure that students know what they take, that we take an effort to speak English seriously right on the first day with them. We can give some instruction on class rules, what reward they can get for speaking English, and what punishment that will they get when they speak Indonesian. But don't forget to tolerate it as well, as we just entered the class for the first time. One tip to encourage the student to speak English more naturally. The first is one tip. The tip is to make them enjoy the classroom, the English classroom, so that we can turn it into a race or where they can compete in a teams. Some teachers create the motivation to speak English for young learners by playing some kinds of games. The second, reduce levels of difficulty. In most cases, we want to challenge our learners. We want to push them to the next level and excel. We want to maintain their interest by making exercises more challenging, so the learners do not grow complacent and bored. However, this should be the opposite for speaking, as students already have less confidence when it comes down to it. If the teacher reduces the level slightly at the beginning, the student will feel less pressure, and therefore they will be more motivated to speak. The third is share experiences. Sometimes ESL course books are way out when it comes to being realistic. We can sometimes give and share our experiences in learning English to the students. And the fourth, do not interrupt. Students, when speaking English, get distracted easily. They lose their train of thought, and not to mention their confidence is knocked if the teacher is constantly interrupting them. Imagine having every second word corrected for pronunciation, grammar, usage, and so on. It will be more frustrating. Instead, let your learners speak freely without interruption, and if they make mistakes, note them down and address them in the class later. The fifth is equality. It is a common thing for the teacher to split their class into small groups for speaking and communicative activities. However, teachers often make mistake of not defining the roles, and there will always be one or two students who are more vocal than the others, and thus the conversation or activity will be dominated by just a few people, and as a result, the other student will feel like they don't have a specific role. They will not feel motivated to participate, and why should they, when they have not been given a purpose? Make sure your groups are equally divided for speaking and communicative activities so everyone can participate. The sixth, follow up with more questions. Students will often give a short or inadequate answer because they cannot think of anything to say. They feel under pressure, and it is much easier to give up and appear lazy rather than they admit that they cannot do it. If your student give short answer, it might that they have nothing to say on the issue. Students hate it when teachers prompt them by giving one or two words at the beginning of the answer. It makes them feel like they are children. Instead, help your learners by asking them relevant follow-up question to what they have already said. The last, time factor. We need to take time. We need to take into consideration how long it takes to think of something in another language, process it, and verbalize it when learning new languages. The words will never just flow out of their mouth. Mistakes will be made and confidence will be low. Therefore, it is absolutely essential for teachers to remember that learning a new language is a developmental process. Sadly, the ESL teacher sometimes lacks of patience. Do not just jump in and finish the sentence for them. Do not immediately redirect the question to another student. Through this, you will just give them more inhibition and insecurities when it comes to speaking English. Time is what they need, and tell them this. Use the phrases, take your time, or I'll give you a moment to think about it. Such phrases will take the pressure off and they will be able to think more clearly. I think that's all for me. Thanks for your really nice attention and pardon me for any inconvenience. That's all. Billahi fisabilil haq. Nun wal qalam mimma yasrun. Fastabiqul khairah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.